Have you ever stopped to wonder if you're truly free before you answer that? Think carefully. You wake up in the morning, and what's the first thing you do? You reach for your phone, swipe through endless notifications, open social media, searching for something, anything to fill that silence. Maybe it's a video, maybe it's music or your favorite podcast. And while sipping your coffee, you're already knee-deep in the cycle of constant stimulation, dopamine on demand, comfort at your fingertips. Then you head out to work or college, and it doesn't stop your eyes glued to the screen, your ears filled with voices not your own, your mind constantly seeking more content, more noise, more pleasure, and for what to avoid a few moments of silence, to escape a feeling you can't quite name, but you know it's there, and when everything goes quiet, that feeling creeps in, that uncomfortable silence, that sense of emptiness. So what do? You reach again for another hit, another distraction, anything but stillness. Now here's the truth. The problem isn't pleasure in itself. Pleasure is natural. It's how we survive. It's how our brains were designed to reward what keeps us alive. But what happens when pleasure is no longer a reward, but a trap? When it stops being a choice and starts becoming the cage? We live in a loop of instant gratification, where every moment of discomfort needs to be erased right away. Decades ago, Aldous Huxley saw this coming, while Orwell warned of a world ruled by fear and force. Huxley imagined something far more terrifying, a world where people didn't need to be controlled because they would be so entertained, so overstimulated, that they would never think of rebelling, a world where chains weren't necessary, because no one wanted to leave their cage, a world where people would love their own slavery. Now look around. Really, look, what do you see? A society addicted to pleasure, to distraction, to anything that makes us forget ourselves, our boredom, our fear, our loneliness. And the worst part, we think it's freedom. We think scrolling endlessly, watching binge-worthy shows, chasing likes and validation is our choice. But is it really? Let's go deeper. Imagine a world where every time you feel sad, angry, or even slightly bored, you can erase that feeling instantly with a tap on your screen. One click, and you're laughing at memes. One swipe, and you're lost in a sea of short videos. And before you know it, hours are gone. And you haven't really felt anything real. Just flashes of fake joy, sugar-coated moments, keeping you from ever going inward. This is the world. Huxley described a place where people don't need to be policed because they'll police themselves. A place where the system doesn't need to silence you because you'll stay too busy to speak, too distracted to think, too addicted to stop. And if you think you're not part of this, think again, because you've been conditioned from the start to avoid discomfort, to chase pleasure, to fear silence. From childhood, our minds are shaped, not to reflect, but to repeat, not to question, but to obey. Schools teach us to memorize, not to think. Jobs train us to produce, not to create. And our entertainment fills every gap, making sure we never sit long enough with our own thoughts. And so the cycle continues. You're not forced to watch TikToks for hours. No one's putting a gun to your head and saying, eat junk food, scroll endlessly, avoid reality, but you do it anyway. Why? Because your brain has learned to crave it. Every discomfort solved by a dose of dopamine, every silence covered by sound, and without realizing it, you've become numb, not just to pain, but to meaning. You've become a happy prisoner, not because someone locked you up, but because you forgot what it feels like to be free. And when you finally try to sit in silence, when you try to unplug, when you try to reflect, your mind resists it, screams for more content, more distractions, more anything except truth. But here's the deeper danger. Pleasure alone makes us weaker. The more we avoid struggle, the more fragile we become. If everything is easy, if every discomfort is removed, we lose our strength, our resilience, our depth. Pain has a purpose. Suffering builds character, challenges create growth. But when we run from all of it, we stop evolving. We stop thinking, and we become perfect products for a system that only wants our attention. Now ask yourself, are you living or just distracting yourself from living? Are you chasing pleasure or building something that matters? Because in a world addicted to comfort, the truly powerful ones are those who learn to be uncomfortable. Those who can sit in silence, face their fears, and ask the hard questions. The people who don't need to escape every second, the ones who don't depend on validation or dopamine hits. Those people can't be controlled. And that's exactly why the system doesn't want you to be one of them. Because someone with purpose is dangerous. Someone who lives with intention is uncontrollable. And that kind of person cannot be manipulated by marketing or swayed by social trends. So what's the way out? How do you break free from this trap? It starts with one decision: awareness. The decision to become conscious of what's happening around you and inside you. And once you see the game for what it is, you can begin to take control. The first step is to limit your exposure to empty pleasure. Take breaks from social media. Resist the urge to check your phone every 5 minutes. Stay away from things that numb you. Not because they're evil, but because they're designed to keep you dependent. When you take away the constant dopamine, you give your brain a chance to reset, to reconnect to what really matters. The second step is to get comfortable with discomfort. Allow boredom to exist. Sit in silence. Be alone with your thoughts. Let frustration come without escaping it through a screen. Because when you stop running from discomfort, you start gaining control over it. And that control builds true strength. Third, start asking better questions. Why do I keep reaching for my phone? Why do I feel anxious when I'm alone? Why do I chase things that never satisfy me? And who profits from my constant distraction? Once you start thinking critically, the illusion begins to break and you take back the power to shape your own life. And finally, replace pleasure with purpose. Not entirely, but meaningfully. Find something that matters, something that moves you, something worth waking up for. Because pleasure fades, but purpose stays. It gives you direction. Even in darkness, it keeps you grounded when everything else tries to pull you off course. But here's the truth. Not everyone will understand. When you change, people might resist, some will mock you, some will pull away, because your transformation reflects something they don't want to confront in themselves. But that's okay. You're not here to please them, you're here to grow. So now it's your choice. Keep chasing distractions, hoping the next scroll will fill the void or take the first real step toward freedom. Start living on your terms. Start asking the right questions and start building a life that isn't controlled by what the world tells you to want. If this spoke to something deep inside, you don't just click away. Sit with it, reflect on it. And if you're ready to take back control, hit that like button. Subscribe to the Ethereum channel and join a community of people who choose to see through the illusion. We don't follow the crowd. Here we wake up, we question, and we grow. This is just the beginning.